Mud is everywhere. On the men's faces, on the trembling hands gripping their M1 Garands, on the boots sinking deeper with every step. The noise never stops. It's not scattered explosions. It's a constant, hellish symphony of German artillery tearing through the air, the sharp crack of rifles, the high-pitched scream of an MG-42 that seems determined to never stop spitting fire. Someone yells, "Medic!" from the far side of the hedgerow, but the voice disappears into the detonations. Men run without knowing exactly where, only knowing that standing still means dying. Joe Toy crouches behind a mound of dirt barely worth calling cover, bloodshot eyes exhausted, shouting orders no one can really hear. A private waves back, having no idea what was. This is Normandy. 7 days after D-Day, and the Easy Company is still trapped in this green, muddy hell, trying to open a road that should have been taken in hours. Easy Company, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. The best, they were told. Trained to the bone at Tokoa, at Camp McCall in England. They jumped into the darkness over occupied France with orders to secure the exits off the beach and let the boys at Utah push inland. Simple on paper, but nothing here is simple. Among the privates holding the front line is a 22-year-old from a small town where the biggest worry used to be choosing between working on his father's farm or trying his luck in the city. Now he's lying in a water-filled ditch, bullets snapping inches over his head, trying to remember what it felt like to not be afraid all the time. He has no name the generals will remember, no medals waiting for him. All he has is his rifle, the men beside him, and the order to move forward. When Easy Company jumped in the night of June 5th to 6th, everything went wrong from the start. The C-47 pilots, terrified of German flak, dropped the paratroopers anywhere they could, scattering them across miles of farmland. The men spent the first hours of the invasion lost, alone, hearing gunfire from every direction and not knowing who was who. Malarkey and Muck found each other behind a hedgerow, just as lost as the rest. They gathered a few strays, followed the sound of fighting, and eventually found Lieutenant Winters. He was calm, always calm, even when chaos swallowed everything around him. He organized the men, gave them purpose. They took the Brecourt Manor guns on day one, 4 German cannons tearing Utah Beach apart. It was brutal. They lost men, but they did it. They thought that would be it. They thought that after Brecourt, after holding their positions, they'd get a chance to rest, regroup, wait for reinforcements. They didn't. The order came fast. Advance. They needed to take Carentan, the key town linking Utah Beach to Omaha. Without Carentan, the beachheads stayed isolated, vulnerable, and between Easy Company and Carentan lay miles of bocage, those cursed Norman hedgerows, living walls of earth and knotted roots, 2 or 3 meters high, turning every field into a natural fortress. The Germans knew how to use them. Every hedgerow was a potential ambush. The company has been in this for 3 days. 3 days of inch-by-inch fighting under constant fire. They don't have enough tanks, don't have air support when they need it, and the ammo is running out. Each man carries what he can and shares when he must. Guarneret is already firing ammo he pulled off a dead German Springfield. Luce hasn't had grenades for 2 days. The privates count their clips obsessively. 4, maybe 5, and pray it'll be enough. The exhaustion is worse than the fear. It's a weight, something that drags their shoulders down, makes every step feel like climbing a mountain. They haven't truly slept since before the jump. Just a few minutes here and there, always alert, always with one eye open. They doze against each other's packs and wake up with bile in their throats, bodies screaming for rest that will never come. The company moves across an open field, running in small groups while German artillery hunts for them. Lieutenant Spears from Dog Company walks past like he's out for a Sunday stroll, cigarette hanging from his lips, oblivious to the bullets. They say he's crazy. They say he shot prisoners in Normandy. The men don't know if it's true. But the way he walks, that complete absence of fear, makes them want to follow him, even knowing it might be suicide. They reach another hedgerow and slam against it, gasping. Bull Randleman is beside another soldier, face smeared with dirt, helmet crooked. He's bleeding from the arm but doesn't seem to care. "How many clips you got?" he asks. 4, the soldier answers. Randleman nods. "You'll have to make 'em last." They all know it. The radio crackles and Winter's voice cuts through the static. They need to push forward. There's a road up ahead, the main route to Carentan, and it's crawling with Fallschirmjäger, veteran German paratroopers who fought in Crete, in Africa, in Russia. They're good, very good, and they're dug in, waiting. There's no choice. The men brace themselves. Winters blows the whistle. They climb the hedgerow, sprint across the muddy field, and hell opens up. The MG-42 erupts, that unmistakable buzzsaw roar, 1,200 rounds a minute ripping the air apart. Hubler goes down but gets back up, keeps running. Another man doesn't. No one looks back. They can't. They hit a ditch and drop inside it. Water to their knees, ice cold and filthy. Shifty Powers, the company's best marksman, lies on the lip of the ditch, rifle set, hunting targets. There, he whispers, mostly to himself. He fires. A pause. Got him. No one asks where. Shifty doesn't miss. The order is clear. They need to flank that machine gun nest. It's suicide, but it's the only way. Webster, Liebgott, and another soldier get the job. They crawl out of the ditch, using every fold in the terrain for cover. Mud coats everything, weighs them down, fights each movement. Liebgott mutters nonstop, a low stream of curses in English and German. He hates the Germans with a fury that scares the others. They say it's because he's Jewish. The men don't know. They just know he kills without hesitation. They reach a spot with eyes on the German position. 4 men, maybe 5, behind makeshift sandbags, the MG-42 mounted and blazing. They're out of grenades. They'll have to do this with rifles. Webster glances at the other soldier, wide-eyed, and they see their own fear reflected back. The same fear everyone feels, but also determination. Webster nods. Go! They rise and run. 3 seconds. That's all they have before the Germans spot them. They fire on the move, not really aiming, just trying to force the enemy's heads down. The machine gun swings toward them, and time seems to freeze. The barrel points straight at them. The gunner young, maybe younger than any of the attackers. Eyes wide. Shifty fires. The gunner drops, head snapping back. The others try to react, but the Americans are already on them. Liebgott drives his bayonet into the first man he reaches. Webster fires point blank. The third soldier squeezes the trigger again and again until his clip runs dry. Silence. The machine gun is dead. The private trembles so hard he can barely reload. Webster leans against the sandbags, vomiting. Liebgott stands over the bodies, expressionless. They return to the ditch. No one talks. There's nothing to say. They did the job. That's all. But the day isn't done. It never is. There's always another hedgerow, another German position, more fire from somewhere they can't see. Frustration builds. Orders are unclear, contradictory. Push forward, pull back, hold the line. No one knows exactly where the Germans are, how many of them, what they're planning. They're fighting blind. That night, the company regroups in an abandoned farm, bullet holes in the walls, half the roof torn open by artillery. The men pack inside, sharing cold rations and canteen water. Someone managed to get coffee, God knows how, and they pass a metal cup around, each man taking a sip. It's cold, bitter, but it's the best coffee they've ever tasted. Winters walks in with Lieutenant Welsh. They've got maps, pointing at routes, muttering over options. They call the men closer. Carentan's right there, Winters says, tapping the map. Tomorrow we're going in. Heavy resistance expected, but we don't have a choice. Other companies push from the south. We go from the east. Stick together, keep your heads down, and do what you're told. Understood? They nod. What else can they do? They try to sleep. Few succeed. Every time they close their eyes, they see faces. Buddies killed, Germans they killed, people waiting at home. Muck lies there staring at the ceiling. You think we'll make it? He asks the soldier beside him. I don't know, comes the honest answer. But we're here, so we'll try. Muck gives a tired smile and closes his eyes. Good enough. Dawn comes cold and gray. A thick fog blankets the fields, the kind that makes a man feel alone even when surrounded. They get ready in silence, check weapons, tighten helmets, cinch their boots. No speeches, no flags, just men preparing for another day in hell. They advance. The fog hides them from the Germans, but blinds them too. They move slowly, rifles forward, each man just a few yards from the next, trying not to lose sight of one another. The silence is crushing. All they hear are their own footsteps in the mud, their heavy breaths. Then the fog parts. Carentan is right in front of them, stone buildings, narrow streets, and in every window, every corner, there are Germans. They were waiting. The fog was a trap. Hell erupts again. Fire from every direction, mortars smashing into the pavement. They dive for any cover, behind wrecked cars, low walls, burned-out tanks. A private hides behind an overturned cart, gasping, and sees Compton to his right, firing methodically, face empty, automatic. He's beyond fear, beyond exhaustion. He's just running on instinct. They need to move. Street by street, house by house. Urban combat, the worst kind. You don't see the enemy until you're on top of them. Every corner is a new ambush. Percival takes a round to the shoulder, screams, but keeps fighting. Popeye tosses a grenade through a window and everyone ducks. The blast shakes the whole block. They rush inside. 3 Germans dead. They don't look long. Hours pass. No one knows how many. Time stops mattering. There's only the next building, the next corner, the next burst of fire. The men's ears ring, and they can't hear much anymore. Someone is shouting orders, but it sounds like they're underwater. They fire until their ammo is gone, grab clips off the dead, American or German doesn't matter, and keep going. Then finally, a strange silence. The men look around. They're in the center of town. The main square, no more gunfire. The Germans have pulled back or been killed. Other units of the 101st are moving in from different directions. Carentan is taken. A soldier sits on the edge of a dry fountain, rifle across his lap. He's shaking. Not from the cold, but from adrenaline, exhaustion, relief. Bull drops beside him. He's still bleeding from the arm, but a medic is finally working on it. "We did it," he says, like he doesn't quite believe it. "Yeah," someone answers. "We did, but at what cost?" The men look around and see who's missing. Men they jumped with, trained with, shared smokes and bad jokes with. Some are wounded, carried by medics. Others aren't coming back. Their bodies still lie out there, in the fields, in the streets, covered by ponchos or simply left where they fell. There'll be time to mourn later, maybe, if they survive what comes next, because this is only the start. Carentan is just one town. There's the rest of France, then Germany. Months, maybe years, of war still ahead. And Easy Company will be there pushing forward, always forward, because that's what they do. Because they don't have a choice. Because someone has to. Winters moves among them, checking on each man. He stops in front of a private, rests a hand on his shoulder. "Good work," he says. The soldier nods. He can't speak. Winters understands. He always understands. Night falls over Carentan. Small fires burn along the streets. Men warming themselves, trying to forget where they are for just a moment. Someone plays a harmonica, a slow, sad tune. Others write letters that might never be mailed. One soldier stares up at the stars, the same stars he used to see above his father's farm, wondering if his father is looking at them too, wondering where his son is, wondering if he's alive. He is, for now. And tomorrow they'll wake up and do it all over again, because they're Easy Company, because they're the 101st, because they're all that stands between civilization and the abyss. And because no matter how much they want to go home, no matter how much they want this all to end, they know there are men beside them who would give their lives for them, and they for their brothers. That's the only thing that makes sense in this insane world. Not the flags, not the medals, not the general's speeches. Just that. The man next to you. The brother in arms. The road to Carentan came at a heavy price, but Easy Company walked it, and they'll walk the next one. And the next, until this ends, one way or another, until they can finally go home.